The Mandalorian Chapter 19, The Convert, has arrived. This week features the fallout after last week's Mythsaur reveal, a thrilling dogfight, a trip to Coruscant giving us a glimpse into the current state of the New Republic, and Bo Katan's first encounter with the Children of the Watch. Let's get into the breakdown. This is the way. We pick up right where we left off last week in Chapter 18, in the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore. Din Djarin awakens next to a concerned Grogu, while Bo Katan Kryze stares out at the water. She confirms Din is redeemed, having bathed in the living waters. He takes a small capsule sample to serve as proof for the armorer. Bo Katan asks if he saw anything alive in the water, sorta beating around the bush. Din did not, as he was seemingly unconscious. Bo decides to keep her Mythsaur encounter to herself. In the book of Boba Fett, the armorer told us of the prophecy that claims a Mythsaur will rise up and herald a new age of Mandalore. Perhaps Bo Katan is also aware of this and knows something that we don't. Maybe it won't be Din who eventually tames the beast, but rather Bo Katan Kryze herself. As they head back to Kalevala, aboard Bo's Mandalorian gauntlet fighter, Bo Katan jokes that she'd invite Din Djarin inside for a feast, but she assumes he's not taking his helmet off again. Din responds with the expected "this is the way," as Bo Katan repeats it, and Grogu seems to attempt to say it as well. Between this week and last week with Pelimoto, the showrunners are really teasing that we will hear him speak this season. His first words need to be "this is the way," or calling Din dad. Absolutely no in between. Suddenly the ship takes a hit as they're attacked by a squadron of TIE interceptors. These Imperial ships are a personal favorite of mine. These TIE fighter variants first showed up in Return of the Jedi, which The Mandalorian takes place around 5 years after. They were designed to be faster than the standard TIE fighter in order to overwhelm enemy ships more effectively. Bo Katan manages to evade them long enough for Din Djarin to make a hasty exit, jumping out of the ship and using his jetpack to safely land right next to his N1 starfighter. He quickly boards and joins the fight. Through some skilled cliff flying from Bo Katan and aerial acrobatics from Din Djarin when he cuts his engines, they manage to take out the entire squadron of pursuers. The pair remark that they make a fairly good team. From afar they see explosions. It's Castle Kryze blasted into oblivion by a separate squadron of TIE bombers, shades of the Great Purge of Mandalore, when the ships turn the planet's surface to glass on the Night of 1,000 Tears. The TIE bombers are reinforced by even more interceptors, which light their radars up. With little to no choice, given how outnumbered they are, Din and Bo make a rapid escape and jump to a safe location. We roll the title card before jumping to a familiar location, Coruscant. This planet was, of course, the bustling capital of the Star Wars galaxy during the prequel films and throughout the reign of the Galactic Empire. I believe at this point in the timeline, the New Republic's capital is actually Chandrila. That's the homeworld of Mon Mothma, who is likely serving as Chancellor right now and could appear later in the season in a cameo. Within a concert hall, we see Dr. Pershing giving a speech. This concert hall appears to be the exact same theater where decades ago, Chancellor Palpatine told Anakin Skywalker the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, a story used to further push the future Darth Vader towards the dark side of the Force. Pershing was a scientist, specifically a clone engineer, who was affiliated with Moff Gideon's Imperial remnants in Seasons 1 and 2. Pershing was working with Grogu's blood, likely trying to discover the secrets of cloning Force sensitives that would lead to the eventual creation of Supreme Leader Snoke and Palpatine's resurrection. In the time since we last saw Pershing, he appears to have turned over a new leaf, courtesy of the Imperial Amnesty Program. This appears to be some sort of a way for former Imperials to be reintroduced to society and pardoned for their crimes, inspired by our real-life amnesty laws. Pershing speaks of his good intentions for cloning technology being manipulated by the Empire for nefarious purposes. The reason he began cloning? His mother's heart gave out, and he wanted to discover how to clone organs. Fairly noble. Pershing says thanks to Kaminoan research, he could explore combining traits from two donors to make one final outcome. I'm wondering if this could have to do with Grogu's origin. Were his two donors Yoda and Yaddle? That one might be a bit of a stretch. Watching on is Elia Kane, the comms officer from Moff Gideon's light cruiser in Season 2's finale. After his lecture, civilians shower Pershing with praise. On his journey back to his Amnesty housing, a droid chauffeur speaks to him of the wonders of Coruscant. When he arrives, a small group of fellow Amnesty members are talking in the courtyard. Among them is Elia Kane, who greets the Doctor and reconfirms her new allegiance to the New Republic. The others speak of Moff Gideon with dismay, highlighting rumors that he escaped on the way to his war tribunal or was sent to something known as a mind flare. There we have it. Gideon could already be loose and may have been the one to send those TIE interceptors after Din and Bo early in the episode. If not, we know it's only a matter of time before we see Gideon once again up to no good. The group make a toast to the New Republic and share memories of what they miss from everyday life before. Kane offers to show Pershing around Coruscant the next day. In his quarters, he receives a doorbell call, but no one was there when he answers. A mysterious Imperial package has been left for him. It contains some rationed travel biscuits he reminisced about with the group earlier. At his day job, which looks very similar to Cyril Karn's in Andor, Dr. Pershing is working on archiving and is greeted by another worker who saw his talk. Later, he and Kane are exploring a bustling street fair and eating these glowing ice cream bars. Way cooler than cornflakes, Cyril. Pershing confesses to feeling like his work and vital cloning research is unfinished and could benefit the New Republic. Kane alludes to there being a fellow community of those who are less rule-prone, saying that blindly following rules is what got them into trouble in the first place with the Empire. She encourages him to touch Umate, the visible peak of Coruscant's highest mountain, the only place you can actually see the planet on the entire world. As he does so, he is caught by a small police droid, which we saw throughout the Clone Wars. The next day, Pershing is essentially at a probation meeting with a droid, a part of his amnesty program. After a series of standard questions, he asks the droid if he can continue doing his cloning research recreationally, but is reminded that cloning and genetic engineering is banned by the New Republic. Later, he tells this to Kane, and she says they can get him a mobile lab station. It would just mean going outside their designated perimeter, breaking their probation. For now, Pershing refuses to take the risk. The next day at work, Pershing highlights how the devices he is decommissioning could be put to use still, but he is presented with bureaucracy. They even mention how the Rebel Alliance's fleet is being dismantled. This is likely a part of the Military Disarmament Act. This law, passed by the Galactic Senate and New Republic, saw the rapid demilitarization of the new government. The movement was undertaken in an effort to reflect the values of a democratic peacetime government and allowed the newly formed republic to focus on political cooperation instead of military control as its primary means of civil organization. This would ultimately leave the new republic severely unprepared for the rise of the First Order, and could do the same for Grand Admiral Thrawn. At his next amnesty meeting, Pershing confirms that helping the New Republic supersedes anything else. He resolves to get the mobile lab, looking for another route to be more useful. He tells himself he is helping and it is the right thing to do. He and Kane make their way to a transport shuttle, essentially a space subway train. Droid ticket inspectors begin to make their way through the ship. The pair move further through the carriages until they reach the end of the train, with the droids still in pursuit. They resolve to jump at the first station, and they've arrived at the disposal yards to loot a junked Imperial Star Destroyer for what they need. It's where she got the biscuits for him. They make their way inside, and Pershing begins to take what he needs from an array of lab equipment, speaking of how he always wanted to be a scientist and couldn't believe it when he made it to an Imperial facility. Kane says she never had a chance to find out what she wanted to do, just as a mysterious noise comes from elsewhere in the ship. Kane dismisses it and says that she will keep watch. As they exit the ship, footsteps and lights are approaching. They flee across the shipyard, but are caught by the New Republic officers. It turns out Kane was some sort of a double agent for the New Republic. She had set Pershing up. Pershing then discovers himself attached to a therapeutic device, which he identifies as a mind flare. Despite the Mon Calamari officers' insistence to the contrary, this was the same machine theorized to have potentially been used on Moff Gideon. It could be used to wipe one's mind on its highest setting. It really reminded me of what we saw Crosshair endure when the effects of his inhibitor chip were amplified in the Bad Batch. Behind the glass, Kane looks on, and when the other officer leaves, she turns up the voltage and eats one of the biscuits. It's pretty clear here that she's still with Gideon and the Empire, but what is she doing? Perhaps wiping Pershing's mind so he forgets all of the Empire's cloning secrets and they don't get out. Maybe this was done to plant some resentment towards the New Republic, so Pershing would willingly return to the Empire. Drop your theories in the comments down below. I'm genuinely curious. We finally jump back and see Bo Katan and Din Djarin arrive at the Children of the Watch's covert. Din tells her she is his guest and things will go a lot smoother if she keeps her helmet on. Paz Vizsla greets them and tries to turn Din Djarin away, again calling him an apostate. Bo Katan tries to act as a witness for his redemption, but Vizsla says she's an apostate too for falling from the way, identifying her as a night owl. Din Djarin presents his capsule of living water and is allowed to enter the cavern as many other Mandalorians look on. Inside, the armorer receives the water, confirming it by pouring it into a bowl and watching it shimmer, thus granting Din his redemption. The armorer also grants Bo Katan redemption since she too bathed in the waters and hasn't removed her helmet since. Bo has been accepted into the covert of the Children of the Watch. On the wall is the mounted forged Mythsaur skull symbol, which Bo Katan notices, clearly reminded of the secret she now holds dear. Roll the credits on Chapter 19, The Convert. Now, does the Convert refer to Dr. Pershing's new life with the New Republic? Does it reference Bo joining the Children of the Watch? Let us know your theories and meet us back here next week for Chapter 20. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.